proud of that too, which I assume fits into your
totally
green initiative.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Jeff. Always appreciated your support from when I was running the Chamber of Commerce, and always appreciate what you've done for Hamilton as well, and the investments that you made in the city, even when it wasn't particularly lucrative to do so. So thank you so much for hosting us here this morning. And good morning, all. Thank you for being here for this very important Vote Loomis announcement. We're here today to talk about homes, but we should first acknowledge that there are people such as the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas who have called this land home for many centuries. Hamilton, or Attawandaronia, as the area was called pre-colonization by the Neutral, is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant and the Between the Lakes Purchase of 1792. And today, the city of Hamilton is home to over 15,000 Indigenous people. And I invite everyone to embark on a journey similar to the one that I have been on to better understand the history of this place and our roles as residents, neighbors, partners, and caretakers. As you've seen since the launch of our campaign on May 2nd, we have been gathering incredible momentum. We brought together over 300 volunteers and supporters, attended more than 100 community events, and have walked over 200,000 steps, knocking on doors from Binbrook to Dundas, Stoney Creek to Ancaster, Flamborough to Winona, and of course, the mountain and the lower city in between. And what I'm hearing loud and clear is that the biggest issue we are all contending with is the increasing unaffordability in our community, mainly housing affordability. Growing up, my single mother was challenged to make ends meet, and I know the stresses of being poor. Those scars never heal. We moved over 25 times in my life and have lived in all sorts of homes, apartment complexes, duplexes, basement apartments, and even mobile homes. I understand the value of building quality housing no matter where we call home. If we want more affordable homes, we need to build more and build faster. With the supply of homes being the biggest driver of unaffordability, the plan that we are releasing today will aim to build 50,000 new units in Hamilton over the next 10 years. Our Homes for Hamilton plan will see us double the pace of home building in Hamilton, which has the added benefit of creating more jobs. We will build smart, build up, and build sustainably. It is a plan that respects our firm urban boundary and the green space and farmland that it protects, keeps property taxes low, and helps us dig out of our infrastructure deficit. That means we must build in areas that are already serviced by sewers and roads. We must deliver as many housing units as possible around critical transit nodes where people live, work, shop, and play. We'd like to achieve a 99 walking score on all of the projects that we build in Hamilton. To get there, we need to update residential zoning bylaws to reflect the world we find ourselves in today. If elected, I promise to move an immediate review of our residential zoning bylaws with the intention of pre-zoning appropriate areas for building proposals. We must fast-track the approvals for all types of housing, including townhomes, duplexes, triplexes, in-law suites, and other forms of housing. If this means that we need to hire more city staff to move things along, so be it. That would be a smart investment because the province is going to force us to move quickly or forfeit the fees developers pay. And I promise to have someone in the mayor's office dedicated to moving housing projects through City Hall, no matter the size. This will result in rapidly increasing our ability to approve and develop new housing for our residents, eliminating the wasted time spent on zoning review processes and getting immediately to site plan approvals. If elected, I am also committed to building transit-oriented, complete communities and implementing inclusionary zoning policies for Hamilton. As we review bylaws, we will recalculate what qualifies as affordable housing and evaluate how the city can effectively implement inclusionary zoning policies where it's needed most. Inclusionary zoning would require that a portion of new housing be dedicated as affordable as it has here at this project. Not only must we dramatically re-envision how we approve housing, we need to dramatically re-envision how we incentivize and require deeply affordable housing to be included. I commit to consulting with community leaders and builders on implementing inclusionary zoning policies, and I believe that all levels of government should provide incentives to those who are building affordable units. I have a strong, proven record of working with all levels of government, with all parties, to advocate for Hamilton's fair share, and I'm confident in my ability to deliver on partnerships with our upper levels of government to fund Hamilton's affordable housing developments. Hamilton also needs leadership that will work with our nonprofit housing providers to deliver on the Hamilton is Home initiative. We must reduce red tape, secure critical funding, and facilitate opportunities for rapid affordable housing starts like this project here. I'm committed to collaboration on critical funding challenges to advance new affordable housing starts. We must increase development along all 5 of our rapid transit routes and initiate planning for the other transit lines while we build the B-Line LRT project. We know how long these projects take, and we need to be ready for the next project when the LRT is complete. Finally, we will commit to being held to our promises and ensure that you can track our progress on an annual basis. We will report on the number and types of units delivered each year. These proposals are a direct response to what Hamiltonians decided for our community when we committed to a firm urban boundary. We don't want to see any further loss of our rich farmlands. Hamiltonians want to see the development of vibrant, complete communities equipped with good transit, full of diversity, and access to the incredible natural features we are so lucky to have in Hamilton. I am the only person running for mayor who can work with the provincial government, the federal government, unions, not-for-profits, and the private sector to deliver on this ambitious plan and help tackle the housing affordability crisis that grips our city today. I invite you to visit voteloomis.ca for a full breakdown of my plan to grow Hamilton smartly. I have heard from so many Hamiltonians, and the interest in our movement only continues to grow because our message is resonating with what residents in this community want for their loved ones and for their neighbors. Hamiltonians want to have confidence in their municipal government to address the issues that challenge them most. This begins with new faces and voices sitting around the council table and dedicated to restoring truth, trust, and transparency in City Hall. I thank you for being here, and with that, I will take any questions that you may have.
So let's start with, what is your definition of affordable housing? We heard the term affordable housing, we heard deeply affordable, and as a follow-up, Mr. Pagan, what is the affordable here?
Well, right now the definition in the city is 125% of market rates, which doesn't make sense to me that you are defining affordability above what the market is bearing right now. So we're going to undergo a process just like Toronto has just done to modernize that definition. That will be part of what we plan on doing, but obviously it would have to be below market rate, and we'll see where the process goes from there. I don't know, Jeff, did you want to?
Well, no, I can just tell you what the market rate is today and what the average market rate are like this.
Yeah.
And so I think they're talking about in relation to an average market rate,
Yeah.
which includes all of the stock, versus market rate, which is the new stock. So
Right.
there's a big difference.
There's a big gap, and obviously we need to analyze that, and we need to redefine that.
I'm just
Yeah.
going to offer to hold all your papers.
No, that's okay. Well, okay. All right. I'm okay. I got it. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah.
Keanin,
Yes.
maybe that's for Joey's question. This applies to when, for example, there are public lands, like city-owned lands, and they say, okay, we're going to provide these lands or sell these lands to a private developer.
Yeah.
But this comes with a condition that you have to, make a certain percentage of your units affordable.
Right.
So I think the guideline is 125%, as you mentioned, which is the CMHC guideline in order to qualify for funding under various envelopes.
Right.
So that's one thing. But the question I have for you is, we just heard, for example, I can't remember what it was, a certain percentage of the waterfront lands, for example, the Market 50 lands,
Right.
are being set aside for the movie district for the affordable.
Right.
Would you insist on a higher percentage, A, of units being affordable,
Right.
such private projects, and B, would you set, for example, a certain number of RGI units?
Yeah. Well, as I said, we're initiating a process that will certainly look at all of that, working with the industry. As I said, I don't want to be entirely prescriptive here on the industry, but we want to make sure that these projects, of course, are economical and make sense from that perspective. So what types of breaks or what types of other incentives are needed by the city? Again, that's exactly what we're trying to undertake here in this whole review. And we've already worked with the West End Home Builders Association to talk about how we can do this to achieve the balance required so that developers can still make a profit, but also we're able to accommodate affordable units within these projects.
Okay, then
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you another question.
Okay, one follow. Yeah, sure.
Sure. In your press release, I just want to clarify something. I think you used the word something to the effect of we'll intensify within the current build-up
Right.
within municipal boundaries.
Yep.
Starting with, which kind of leaves the door open, I think, for a reader to say, well, starting with, is that a firm commitment, or does that mean, once we exhaust all the lands that we have available, say, a certain number of years?
We're not even close to talking about outside of the urban boundary. Certainly, I have heard from so many developers who have projects that they want to initiate that are currently within the urban boundary that have been languishing in City Hall for decades. So we're talking about certainly that, and then intensification along the already built up areas. Absolutely, like there's no reason to even be thinking about outside the urban boundary at this point in time.
So, Grant.
So 50,000.
Yep.
What type of homes are we talking? What units are we talking about?
We're talking about a complete mix of units.
Rent-a-geared as well?
Pardon me?
Rent-a-geared as well?
Rent-a-geared, yeah, totally. Also in-law suites, duplexes, triplexes, ground-based homes as well. All of the above, depending on the site, of course. Yes, it is going to be all types of housing, as I said in my announcement. Yeah.
And with regard to incentives for developers to build these homes, what type of incentives are we talking about? Or can that happen? Need them to make a profit as well as builders?
Yeah, well, certainly. And again, talking with the home builders about what types of incentives they need. Perhaps they need a couple more stories in addition to what they're allowed as of right within the current zoning plan for that particular site. There are all kinds of mechanisms that we can use, and we just need to discuss. I mean, the point of this whole thing is sitting down with all of the various stakeholders in this process, and that's not being done right now at all. And so this would be a very revolutionary idea in Hamilton to include everybody in the discussions.
So I'm interested in recognizing I can respect that you don't have a set definition of affordable. This is not something you want to throw out the wrong number. But what is your decision-making matrix look like to come to that new definition of affordable?
Well, I think what it will be is again, working backwards with the developers who are the ones actually building, also working with a lot of the not-for-profits as well, and talking about what works for them economically and what sort of incentives they might need to make this work. So it really is a very collaborative approach.
So you want to hold a housing summit or something like that to get them all together in one room to hammer out something?
Yeah, I certainly would. I mean, I loathe to promise another summit, a gathering, because I would only do that if it's actually going to accomplish something. But certainly getting all the right people in the room to achieve this plan.
The residential zoning is coming forward to the council, likely in January or February.
Right. Yeah.
It's very close. I mean, staffing is a challenge.
Yeah.
The city is short planners. I haven't seen the updated org chart, but Jeff can tell you that it changes every 2 weeks, and it's like putting together a puzzle.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, in the residential zoning, and we've seen a good preview, the UHOP amendments that are coming forth August 8th, pretty much laying the foundation.
Yeah.
What's missing in that foundation, or what would you want changed in that foundation that's already being signaled?
Well, I think what we need to do is see what the province is requiring of the cities, and making sure that we have those all of those provisions within our current bylaws. And then again, it's a complete review on top of that as well. So at this point in time, I know the builders will tell you exactly what they need. The not-for-profits will tell you exactly what they need. And that's, again, the whole purpose of getting them to the table, so that we can understand what they need to do to go forward with these projects.
Let me give you a specific. Right here, if one of these houses wants to put in a secondary dwelling unit, they have to meet parking requirements.
Yep.
They have to go to the committee of adjustment.
Right. That needs to be eliminated completely. So as of right, you have the ability to build a secondary suite on your property. All the other knock-on effects of that also need to be made as of right.
Okay, and housing plans, these buildings across the road here and the buildings in Riverdale are all 30, 40, 50 years old.
Yeah.
They're reaching their end of their life. It's a tough challenge that even Toronto hasn't solved. Tower renewal. How does tower renewal fit into your housing plan?
Well, it's obviously easier to retrofit a current building. Well, it might not be easier, but it's better for the environment and to retrofit. So whatever is needed in terms of loans or, again, the ability to tap into higher levels of government, there's a lot of programs that are there for us to tap into, and we're just not doing so. And I'll give one example in the co-op housing. We talked about co-ops. Co-ops are really difficult to finance. So the federal government has created $500 million to be able to do that. And if the city also needs to backstop certain projects, then we should be in the position to do that.
So should Stoney Creek residents expect higher towers, like the one along Lakeshore Boulevard that's happening along the lakeshore in Stoney Creek, or even the 40-story that's going to be going?
Yeah, well, I think that we need to certainly look at the particular sites and say, you know, what is the right sort of balance here, so that we don't drastically change that particular neighborhood. But when it comes to Eastgate here, for sure. I mean, you know, we're talking, this is the node for the B-Line LRT. It's the whole reason for the B-Line LRT. That's why I have been fighting for this for pretty much more than a decade. It's to achieve exactly that. And if you have the LRT right there at their door, I would say to the folks in Stoney Creek, you know, we're not trying to you know, make traffic more dense here and make it more difficult to get around in your community. That will be served by and become the walkable community that, you know, we're seeing here, so that folks can, you know, within 15 minutes access shopping, access their job, recreation as well.
Keanin,
Yes.
Two-pronged question. What do you think about this current development charges issue that some affordable housing providers are facing? They can't go ahead and get their CMHC funding because they don't have the initial break from the city to qualify for those funding plots. What do you think? How should that be resolved? And the second question, could you elaborate a little bit on why you think you're the best candidate to bridge the gaps with upper levels of government for affordable housing?
Yeah, certainly. Well, so I'll take the second question first. Because I've demonstrated that I can work with the federal government and with the Trudeau government in particular, and I can work with the provincial government, with the Ford government in particular. We work together to find a resolution on LRT and to revive that project. And in that process, you make a lot of relationships, and so that will be. And I'm just a natural collaborator as well, and I don't have the baggage behind me that would cause friction in any of those relationships. With regards to the affordable housing, my understanding is that you know, the time horizons just need to be adjusted a little bit to allow the financing to go forward. So whatever, it seems like a pretty easy fix. I've seen John Paul Danko talk about this, so I would certainly follow their lead, and I would certainly, as I said, bring the people to the table, understand what the barriers are, and let's eliminate those. Yeah.
I've got one more here.
Oh, okay. Is it related to housing?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
You talked about wanting to hire more planners.
Yeah.
And Jeff could tell you that the firms he deals with tell him it's hard to find planners. The firms Jeff hired can outbid the city for a planner any day under the sun.
No.
So how do you, as a municipal leader within the constraints of the municipal budget, attract talent and planners to the city of Hamilton when competing against the agents of
a city job should be a good job. It should be a job that people are proud of, where they are able to contribute to their communities and also have that work-life balance that they're trying to achieve. And one of the issues that we're seeing is that the good people don't want to work within the city of Hamilton, and it's because it's a toxic work environment. So we need to completely overhaul the leadership in this community, within City Hall, so that the environment within the city is one that is rewarding for professionals. And I think that you will see that there will be a lot of people willing to work for the city of Hamilton once we have a regime change.
I've got one more too, and it's not a housing question, but I think it's interesting. What do you think about veto powers for mayors? We've heard that that's being pushed by the government.
Yeah, certainly. I've been reading, you know, in the media the last couple of days about this. The province hasn't put forward any specifics as of yet, so it would really just be speculation. It's interesting, but you know, that's not the reason we're running, or the reason I'm running. And my understanding is that, you know, if I win, I would be coming into the same situation that we have right now in terms of the mayor being one vote among 16. And, you know, it's my intention, and has always been my intention, regardless of what changes in terms of the powers of the mayor, to collaborate with the 15 people around the council table to reach consensus.
So let's be very specific then. Transit area rating, we're standing somewhere where the house right here is paying much less than the house beside them for transit. They both receive the best transit service in the entire city because of the old boundary. You've said that that's something that needs to be changed and eliminated. It fails at council on a 9-7 vote. Would you like to have the power as mayor to address that?
Oh, all speculation, Joey. What I have said is that transit area rating has to be phased out as we invest in transit for those areas. I'm not going to speculate on that. That's thanks, but thanks for trying. Yeah. All right. Appreciate you all being here.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes. And really, thank you again, Jeff.